Alright, so I finally got a Mavic Mini 2. I wanted to do a quick comparison video comparing the Mini 2 to the original Mavic Mini. If you don't have either and you're going to buy one or the other, is it really worth the extra cash to get the Mini 2? Well, let's find out. Also, the footage that I took with both drones, I was going to put them side by side, but this video ended up being way longer than I thought, so I'm going to make another video that is solely just the video comparison. But yes, let's dive in, check these out. So let's start with the exterior of these two drones. What is really different on the outside? The original Mavic Mini has the micro USB port, while the Mini 2 has a USB-C port on the back. Other than that, the back end, pretty much the same. Up front, you'll see the camera says 4K, and there is a little light on the Mavic Mini 2, which isn't there on the original Mavic Mini. And it also doesn't say 4K, as it's only a 2.7K camera. They both have a 3-point gimbal, however. On the top and on the sides, everything else, these drones are exactly the same. If it wasn't written on the side Mavic Mini or Mini 2, or you didn't check what type of USB port is in the back, you could not differentiate these two drones. They are exactly the same externally. It's internally where the big difference comes. So the biggest differences that I've seen so far are the remotes. This controller for the Mavic 2, or the Mini 2, is exactly the same as the controller for my Mavic Air 2, and this controller is way better than this one. So you've got a USB-C port right there, so you can just run USB-C directly to this and then get a different cable that works with whatever device you're going to use, and it makes it a lot easier if you're going to use a tablet instead of just a phone. And I've tried this with my iPad mini and it actually works. It's not cropped all weird like it is with the original Mavic Mini. With this guy, this is sort of similar to the Spark controller. While it is nice that it's small, it's lightweight, the joysticks come off and it just works, you have to plug into this USB-C port, and it's not really a true, or not USB-C, micro USB. It's not really a true micro USB. It's some odd thing, but it did work. But I did have to buy an adapter from the micro USB-C, or the micro USB to a regular USB, so I could not have to take the case off of my phone every time. And it's kind of a pain in the ass. But supposedly, according to the literature, the controller is going to be the main factor in the extra range that you'll be able to get out of the drone and the better connectivity. So another thing that I found interesting that isn't really mentioned on a lot of the articles or stuff like that is the batteries. So this is the original Mavic Mini battery, and this is the battery for the Mavic Mini 2. You can see that they are a little different. The Mini 2 battery does not fit in the original Mavic Mini, but the original Mavic Mini battery does fit into the Mavic Mini 2. Another big factor about them so 98.9 grams. 79.5 grams. And so this is how they were able to pack more hardware into the Mavic Mini 2, maybe to get the 4K and some of the other features that was lacking in the original Mavic Mini. So one of the downsides though, if you have the original Mavic Mini and you're trying to run the old battery in the Mavic Mini 2, so this is the original, this is the battery that came with the Mavic Mini 2. So 229 grams, which is well below the advertised weight. So we'll put the original Mavic Mini battery in. Locks into place, no problem. $262. So that is going to put the Mavic Mini 2 above the weight to where it has to be regulated by the FAA and whatever regulatory body there are in a lot of other countries. All right, so I brought both the drones out into the field to do a nice side-by-side comparison. When I did this with the Mavic Mini and the Spark, it was kind of hard to compare the video because, well, I didn't do it the exact same way, so it looked kind of weird, hard to compare. So I'm out here. On that ridge out there is a little lake. So I'm gonna fly up about 50 feet. I'm gonna go 400 feet out. Then I'm gonna go up to about 200 feet, angle the camera all the way down, so 90 degrees facing down, and then I'm gonna fly it back. So hopefully this gives us a little bit better of an understanding of the quality of video that these can run off of. I'm gonna put them both in the cinematic mode, crank it up to the highest. For the Mavic Mini, it's gonna be 2.7K at whatever frames per second. For the Mini 2, it's gonna be 4K, I believe 30 frames per second, possibly 60. So I'll add that on there to let you guys know what I'm shooting in and then put the videos side by side. So let's check it out. Okay, to make sure that they both take off at the same place, I'm gonna make a nice little line here. Okay, so I've got it on 2.7K, 30 frames per second. I've got it on the cinematic mode, and it's on auto resolution. Okay, so we're gonna go up. So we're at exactly 50 feet. And then I'm gonna try to go over this little peninsula thing so it's in the same route. So let's see. So now for the Mini 2. Although I do like the original Mavic Mini's case a little bit better. It's a little hard-sided case, make it a lot easier to throw in a backpack. I think if you threw this in a backpack with a bunch of other stuff and then threw it in your overhead compartment on like a plane, probably a pretty good chance of it getting messed up. So that's one downside, and you can't really use it because this remote controller is a lot bigger. But you could get some other case for it and just throw this in your bag and throw this in your bag. This is pretty robust and there's nothing to snag on really until you put the joysticks in. So the Mavic Mini 2 also came with this pretty sweet little propeller retainer, which was a complaint I had about the original Mavic Mini. So that's nice. Unfolds the same way, turns on the same way. What I love the most is how convenient this remote is. Aside from it being a little bit bigger, definitely love it. There's not much to unfold. Just take your USB-C end, plug it right in here. And this is a cable directly from Apple. I don't have to use any weirdo adapters or anything like that. iPad mini fits right here. Plug it in. Okay, I'm gonna set the video here. I'm gonna go to 4K. So it does 4K by 30 frames per second, but it's also got a panoramic. So I might do the regular flight that I did on the last one, but then maybe fly it back up and go out there and then do the panoramic. So let's see how this goes. All right, let's get it to 50 feet. All right, 50 feet. So this might not be the exact same video, but it's gonna be a lot closer than it was before. It's gonna be a little bit better representation of, you know, the similar thing. I can already see that the drone is not, this one's not in the spot coming back that the original one was, but it should still be a lot more similar than my last setup was. Or no, wait, it is coming back. I was looking at something else in the sky that was not the drone. I was looking at, I don't know if you pick it up, whatever that white thing is. I thought that was the drone for a second. It's actually that thing way up there. So, I don't know, this might be a little closer than I thought. So when it comes down to these two drones, you got the Mavic Mini, the original, and then the Mini 2. The Mini 2 just blows it out of the water. Sure, the image quality on the original Mini is pretty good, and the case is nice. It always just left a bit of a buyer's remorse. I never loved the Mavic Mini. There was a few complaints that I had, and some of those complaints have followed over to the Mini 2. I don't like the fact that it has these little screws instead of the push and twist propellers like all the other DJI drones do. And I really don't like that the battery charger doesn't charge all three batteries at once, it charges them one at a time. So that's a pain in the ass. But the fact that this does have more features, I don't think it has active track, but it's got the panoramics, it's got more quick shots, it's got the same battery life, it's got 4K, and the controller is probably the biggest thing. Having that controller that works with tablets, it'll work with your phone, and then with the USB-C that goes directly into the remote, you can just get a USB-C to whatever your phone or your tablet is. It could be Lightning or the micro USB or USB-C, and that is just, I just love that as far as functionality is concerned. I also love this little retainer. But yeah, the Mini 2 is what the Mavic Mini should have been. I almost think DJI should have just held off on even releasing the Mavic Mini, but I guess it makes sense because I bought it. So they're obviously selling them, right? But yes, the Mini 2 is just top notch compared to the original Mini. So, and looking around, you can get the Mavic Mini Fly More combo on sale. You can usually find it for like $440, $450 for the Fly More combo on sale, but it's just worth spending a little bit extra to get this. I mean, this This guy's powerful. This is a very powerful drone in such a small package. So I think what's next, well, after I sell my Mavic Mini and sort of repay myself for the Mini 2, I think what's next is comparing the Mini 2 to the Mavic Air 2, because it shoots in 4K, flies 31 minutes, it's got the 10-kilometer range. Sounds a lot like the Mavic Air 2, except this one's light enough to where you don't really have to register it. Even the cases that they came with look very similar. If I can find my Mavic Mini 2 case. So, Mini 2. So Mini 2. Air 2. They look pretty similar. So, yeah, the next test is going to be comparing this guy to the Mini 2. And we'll see how much better quality you get with the Mavic Air 2, and see if the Mavic Air 2 is actually worth it now that you can get the Mini 2. So we'll see how that goes. Stay tuned. I've got to finish up a few other abandoned building walkthrough videos. I've got a bunch of other stuff planned, but work's been killing me. So got a lot of stuff planned, but I've got filming jobs on the side, regular job, whatever. But yes, more videos are coming soon. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.